Can you imagine we had not even left the compound, the vicinity, the area, the planet, the earth of the test center, and I was already making Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time watching, then you are so welcome. We're gonna have fun, we're gonna learn. This video is gonna be lit. You know what I mean? It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about how my driving test went. It's a miracle that I can even make this video, because it's a miracle that I even passed the test in the first place. Thank God, you know what I mean? Like, factual knowledge, I did my driving test on the 3rd of March 2020, 03/03/2020. It just seems like the perfect date to do it. Bear in mind, I only started my driving lesson in January 2020, so in literally 2 months I was able to do my driving test. In my previous video, I made a skit of the test, and I do want to mention that I acted over the top low. The test wasn't that dramatic, so I hope it didn't scare any of you, and this video goes over everything that happened. Love you. I'm gonna split this into 2 videos. This video will be how my driving test went, and then the second video I'm gonna upload is like tips on passing your test first time. Yeah, tips on your driving lessons and stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this 2-part series. This duology. Anyways, I did a manual. I don't know how to say this word. Manual. Well, I drove a manual car basically. And my test was in the afternoon at 1:35 p.m. So let's get rolling. On the day of my test, I did an hour driving lesson just so that I can ease into it. Like, it's not as if I'm just like suddenly rushing into the test. I did use the same car that I used during my lessons as well. Like, I was used to the clutches and stuff. Before you start your test, right, like, you're all in this room and then they call out your name. So then they were like, Mercy. I was like, yes. You have the option if you want your instructor to be with you in the car as you're doing your driving test or not. I didn't mind, because I was like, she's gonna have to pray for me in the back, because we're doing this together. Before we even got to the car, right, the first question they ask you, you have to read the number plate of a car, like a random car far away. And me trying to do a test without no glasses, I was like, I was squinting. W950, J. I don't know what I was reading, but yeah, he must have understood the words coming out of my mouth, because I didn't. So that's how I got inside the car. Even before entering the car, I had a show me, tell me question. Guys, I hope you have your popcorn ready, because I still don't know the answer to it even onto this day. Some people commented the answer to this question underneath the skip video. Thank you guys. The show me, tell me question was, how would you know if the indicators are working? You know those indicators, the red ones that will flash? So yeah, he said, how would you know they're working? And I was like, you can get your friend to check for you. And he was like, let's say you're by yourself. Then I was like, okay, you can look in the reflection, the window, you can see the reflection of the red light. And then he was like, no, what about if there's no reflection anywhere? Let's say it's just complete darkness or whatever. And I was like, what does this guy want me to say? So it ended up being us 3, me, the instructor, and the examiner, just staring at the car, because I didn't know what to say. And I was just like, well, this, that, Bob, Michael, Jack, Quinsley. I don't know what to say. I guess I failed that one, because I had 5 minor faults, so that was definitely one of them. But we eventually got into the car after like so many questions. So then yeah, we started driving, right? So we just left the test center, like the building for the test center, with the parking spot. Yeah, we were heading for the outside world. And oh yeah, another show me, tell me question was to horn. So my instructor literally taught me how to press the horn the hour before the test. And obviously, like, it's not rocket science how to horn, but sometimes you need to just practice the simple things so you don't overthink things and then do something stupid. So luckily, like, I knew how to press the horn, so like I knew no show me, tell me questions. So like the 2 show me, tell me questions that I got, I thank God for those, because it could have gone 2 other ways. Obviously, I just pressed one, beep beep beep. On my days, we barely left the vicinity of this area, and we were approaching this roundabout, right? So this is such a weird roundabout. Like, there's a traffic light in the middle of the roundabout. Like, it's just so weird how it's made that I was just so confused. He kept saying turn left, first exit. Bear in mind, the car and all of us 3 people were on the right hand side lane of the road. I was still going on, and then the guy was like,
turn left, first exit.
And I was like, okay, because to me, I thought the second exit was the first exit, so that was just what was in my mind. So I was like, okay, I'm on the right lane, because then I can just, you know, go straight and stuff. But then the examiner kept repeating,
left, first exit.
and I was like, why are you repeating the same thing? Like, what is going on? And I was like, shoot, that is the first exit. I literally looked at him, yeah, and I was like, oh, you mean this one? So I asked him, oh, do you mean this one, right? And he didn't say anything. Like, this guy was blank. I was like, okay. And then the next thing that he said was,
when it's safe to do so, go to the left lane.
he obviously knew I was on the wrong lane. I looked over my shoulder, and then I moved over and then got off the first exit. Can you imagine, we had not even left the compound, the vicinity, the area, the planet, the earth of the test center, and I was already making you know what? My blood pressure was already rising, and it wasn't even 2 minutes into the test. It was just so emotional. We went straight into the motorway, and obviously Mandem was looking left, right and center before I entered as I was on this side. I forgot, you know when you just finish a test, you forget all of the terminology and stuff. But I was on the side thing to enter the slip road. Yes, I was on the slip road. It wasn't even there for that long before we came out. I kind of recognized the route we were taking because I watched a video of another guy doing his test in the same area. So that's really good. Like, I spoke more about it in the second video I'm going to be releasing. But watching YouTube videos is really good as well. On the motorway, yeah, I kept far away from the drivers, as in I was like, you go your pace, I'll go my pace, because I don't want to fail. I ain't failing. I'm not failing because of you. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't. So after that, we entered the residential area, right? Going down this nice long road. It was just so simple. And then he asked me to turn right into this pub. I was on the left-hand lane. The pub was here. I had to turn right. But bear in mind, there's traffic going the opposite way, so I had to wait for the traffic to leave. Me being careful, me trying to pass my test today, I was gonna wait. Like, even if there was a car 5 miles away, you will pass me before I go, especially with me still trying to handle the clutch. I don't want to be turning and then I stop and then it's just gonna be a big mess. I waited for only oxygen and nitrogen to be passing before I turned. Oh yeah, before turning into the pub, there was this motorbike, but it was so far away. But it's just them ones where I was like, if I go now, that could be a fault, that could be a major fault or a minor fault, I don't know. But the only reason I didn't go, even though it was really far away, is because it's a motorbike, and I feel like motorbikes, they come faster than you expect. So I was like, let me just wait for this motorbike to leave before I continue. So, and we all waited. We had a picnic in that same car, Jake. We sat down, we looked at the oxygen, we waited until the road was clear before we proceeded. I wasn't moving. The parking lot, it was like a slope thing, right? I first went upwards, then to park right, I had to now go downwards. When I I turned right to like go down right. I think I parked properly because I didn't get a fault for that. It was when we had to take off and leave the parking thing, then that's when things got real. Bear in mind, the car is facing downwards. For me to leave, I have to reverse uphill, turn before going back where I came from, if that makes sense. For me to all I had to do was turn on the engine, reverse backwards uphill and move on. Oh yeah, in front of us, by the way, was like these bushes. So instead of the car reversing backwards, the car decided to go forwards. So it went forward. I had to slam the brakes or else would have gone into the grass thing. So I must have put the car into forward instead of like reverse or something. I was like, sorry. I was like, I'm so sorry. When that happened, I was like, nah, I've lost it. Because I made this like big mistake, right? I was really hot. Oh my goodness. I was literally huffing and puffing. As in, you would think I was the big bad wolf. I was like, you could hear my breathing from miles away. I was literally driving like, I was so upset. I was like, oh my days mercy, why would you make that mistake, you know? So I was overthinking everything. I prayed about the test. I was like, God, don't let me fail. But it's them ones where everything is just pointing in the opposite direction. You're just like, really? I was so angry at myself. The only thing you can hear in the car was me breathing. I was like, That's how I was breathing the whole time. He also told me to park to the left and then move off again. So I guess like the things that he told me to do wasn't that bad. The show me told me wasn't that bad. The parking and then moving off and then me just parking into a normal wasn't even a normal parking lot because it was a downhill thing. But after the stop and then move off again, I think like we were just heading back to the test center. In my mind, the driving test was so short because I'm used to driving for 2 hours straight because my lessons are always 2 hours. And because the driving test I think was only 40 minutes or something, it felt really short. But then because I felt like I've messed up so many times, I was like, oh my days, Mercy, you only have such a small time and yet you've messed it up. So on the way back to the driving test, I was just so angry. I just had to keep reminding myself, don't overthink it, because I heard somewhere that when you overthink something small, a small mistake you've done, you end up doing like more mistakes. But yeah, so on the way back to the driving center, I was meant to be on the right hand lane, but I was on the left hand lane. Like when it comes to lanes, yeah. I'll be going to the east and then I'm meant to be going to the west. So the way I have to cut through and like just go in front of so many drivers here, it was a mess. I was on the wrong lane, so I had to indicate and beg the driver behind me to like go in front of him. And the person allowed me to. This is what the examiner did. He raised his hand like to say thank you. And I was like, oh, Mercy. You've messed up. You've messed up big time, because why is the examiner now like saying thank you to another driver? In my mind, I was like, nah, nah. What did you just do? So yeah, at this point, I was only like 5 seconds away from the test center, and I was just so overwhelmed. When you get back here, they just write in their notebook. Can you imagine? They just sit there and write. And you're just sitting there not knowing if you've passed or failed, and you're just looking at them and then they're just writing. So yeah, the silence made it worse for me because I was just sitting there still huffing and puffing. Like, bear in mind, nobody was talking. All you could hear was breathing, as in you would know I had a heartbeat. And then eventually, after writing what seemed like 1,000 years, he was like,
I've got to tell you something. But you've passed.
When I told you, I cried. Tears were gushing out of my eyes. If you were outside and looked inside, you would think I failed. The way I was crying, oh my goodness. My instructor was behind me, right? Because she was in the car with me during the test. She was rubbing my back. Mercy, you passed, is good news. It wasn't until he said you passed that I realized how tensed up I was. I was really tensed up. So then when he finally spoke, my emotions just completely like collapsed, you know. But yeah, so I was crying and everything. And then the guy was like,
yeah, you've passed.
And he just literally walked out of the car, and I was there like, no goodbye, nothing. Thank you, God, because I don't know how I passed that test. It was only God that made me pass that test, I promise you. Because how can this guy say
first exit left lane?
I'm on the right hand side. Same thing happened when we were going back. I was meant to be on the right hand side, I was on the left hand side. Like when I told you, yeah, when it comes to lanes, I was completely off, and yeah, I still passed. Somebody explained that to me, because I was like, what? It made me realize that it's not what you do, is how you react, like how you change it, how you overcome your mistake, if that makes sense. So that's what they're looking for the most. Like obviously you might realize that you're in the wrong lane in real life. How would you continue and how would you make that better? I feel like because I safely changed that situation, the scenario, it wasn't a major fault, or it wasn't even a fault. But yeah, so like after the guy left, right, my instructor was like,
Mercy, wipe.
Best believe my instructor was like,
Mercy, wipe your tears, let's take a picture.
I was like, can you not see I'm trying to cry? I was so tearful. Oh my God. And I was smiling here like, jeez. Let me even get my actual test paper so you guys know I actually passed. This is my driving. I was sitting in the car like, nah, I just thank God. And imagine after that, I went straight back to work, like as if nothing happened. I didn't even tell my work colleagues until after. I was like, I passed my test. They were like, what? Nah, I'm just so thankful that I passed. And it's them ones where I passed on the 3rd of March. Bear in mind, lockdown happened what's 18 minus 3? 15 days later, literally 2 weeks later, that's when like everywhere was on lockdown. So me passing in the space of 2 months was a miracle. So those were the 5 minor driving faults I got, which I'm actually really thankful for because I expected it to be so much more, especially with the mirrors and the undue hesitation. But yeah, so that's how my driving test went. I'm just really thankful that I was able to pass it first time. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment down below how your driving test went, and if you've not done it yet, what you're scared most about, or like what you expect it to be, or yeah, if you're nervous about it. But it's them ones where, with me being in the wrong lane from like the very start of the test, in my mind I thought I failed. So not failed, but I just like, oh mercy, you've messed up. So because that negative thought can make you make more silly mistakes that you probably would never make if you were just with your instructor, I'll just say, even if you think you've made a mistake, just continue. Like, don't put yourself down, because it's them ones where the examiner probably won't even notice that you've done that, you know. And to them, they won't see it as a mistake. They'll just see it as, oh okay, at least you moved on from it and like you were able to correct yourself properly. Even if you think you made a mistake, don't let it get to your head. I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, at the end, the examiner stated that
I would have got a major fault with me being in the wrong lane the first time.
When I realized that I was on the wrong lane, thankfully there was no car behind me, so I was able to easily like transition to the left lane. But he said,
if there was a car on the left hand side, you would have failed.
Literally, that's what he said. I was like, his reason behind it was,
I would have now caused a disturbance to the person on the left hand side, and it's especially since I was already like right up front.
I was just so thankful. Like every time I wanted to move over, like it's like God just scattered, like God just like made it everywhere around me just safe, you know what I mean? Like there was just nobody around me, so that was really good. Nah, but if you're about to do your driving test, it's gonna be lit, it's gonna be good. Like just relax, don't overthink things. You're gonna do it, you're gonna make it, you're gonna drive, you're gonna be a driver, you're gonna be a driver.
But yeah, so let me know how it goes. You are amazing. La, 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 la.